The night was colder than any winter Lucas had ever known. The wind whispered like a living thing, moving through the tall, frozen trees as if carrying secrets from another world. Snowflakes fell slowly, but each one felt heavy, like small pieces of ice pressing against his skin. Lucas tightened his old jacket and continued walking through the abandoned valley. He had come here searching for rare minerals, but now he only wanted to find shelter. Then he heard it, a sound so soft, so weak, it almost blended with the wind. A tiny cry, not human, not animal, something between both. Lucas stopped. His breath formed thin clouds in the air as he listened. Carefully again, there it was, another cry. Higher, fragile, afraid. His heart kicked inside his chest. Someone's out here. He whispered to himself. He followed the sound through deep snow, his boots sinking with each slow step. The valley was empty for miles. Finding another living being here made no sense. Yet the cries grew louder. Trembling with pain and desperation, Lucas pushed aside a frozen bush and froze himself, too. Small shapes lay curled together in the snow. They were shaking violently, their thin bodies covered in strange silver-blue skin that reflected the moonlight. Their hair was white like frost, long and tangled around their faces. Their eyes were closed, their lips turning pale as the cold tried to swallow their last breath. They were not human. Lucas felt his stomach twist. No way. Aliens. He whispered, stepping closer. One of the girls opened her eyes large, glowing, and full of fear. For a moment, she stared at Lucas as if she could not decide whether he was a threat or a miracle. Then she tried to lift her hand, but it fell back into the snow. Peoples, she whispered, voice shaking. Help my sister. Lucas knelt beside them without thinking. They were freezing. Their fingers were turning blue, their clothes torn, their bodies too weak to move. He did not know who they were, where they had come from, or how they ended up in this deadly valley. But one thing was clear. Without help, it would not survive the night. He took off his jacket and wrapped it around both girls, pulling them close to share his body heat. The younger sister opened her eyes too. Her gaze was unfocused, lost, trembling. Warm, she breathed weakly. You're warm. I've got you, Lucas said softly. Stay with me. Don't sleep. The older sister tried to sit up, but her strength failed. We fell. From the sky, our ship. Broken, she managed to say before coughing painfully. Lucas felt a wave of shock. Their ship. A crash? None of this made sense, yet the fear in their voices was real. He looked around. The valley was silent, empty, dangerous. He lifted both of them carefully into his arms. They were light, far too light, as if hunger and cold had already claimed half their strength. We're getting out of here, Lucas said firmly. The younger girl grabbed a handful of his shirt. Why? Why help us? She whispered. Lucas hesitated. He didn't know the answer himself. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was something deeper. But he finally said, because no one deserves to die alone in the snow. The older sister's eyes filled with tears. Human kindness. She whispered, almost like she was discovering a new word, as Lucas carried them through the darkness. The wind grew stronger, pushing against him like a living wall. But he didn't stop. He walked faster, knowing time was running out. Every second mattered. Behind him, the sky flickered with a faint silver glow, most like something watching from above. Lucas didn't see it, but the older sister's eyes widened. She knew that glow. She knew what it meant. Danger was coming. But for now, they were safe in the human's arms. And that changed. Lucas pushed through the icy wind as he carried the two alien sisters toward the small wooden shelter he had built earlier that week. The storm grew worse, snow whipping across the valley like a white curtain. The older sister clung weakly to his shoulder, while the younger pressed her face against his chest, trying to absorb every bit of warmth he could give. Inside the shelter, the air was slightly warmer, but still cold. Lucas gently laid them on the thick blankets near the heater. Both sisters trembled uncontrollably, their breaths shallow. He knelt beside them. "You're safe now. I'll make a fire. Just try to stay awake." The older sister nodded slowly. The younger only whispered a soft, tiny thank you. Lucas worked quickly, lighting the fire with shaking hands. He kept glancing at the sisters, afraid one of them might stop breathing if he looked away for too long. When the fire finally glowed bright, he sat near them. "What are your names?" he asked softly. The older sister blinked slowly, struggling to speak. "My name is Lyra. And this is my younger sister, Nira." Nira gave a weak smile. "Hi," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Lucas smiled gently. "I'm Lucas. You're safe here, I promise." But Lyra looked worried, deeply worried. Her glowing eyes kept shifting to the small window, as if she expected someone or something to appear at any moment. Lucas noticed. "Are you afraid of something?" Lyra hesitated. A long silence passed before she whispered, "The ones who attacked our ship. They will look for us." Lucas's heartbeat quickened. "Attacked by who?" Lyra shook her head. "I don't know their name in your language, but they follow us across stars. They want our bloodline." Nira clutched Lucas's hand suddenly, her grip surprisingly strong for someone so weak. "They will come again," she whispered. "They always come." Lucas felt a cold fear in his chest. He was just a normal human, alone in a frozen valley. How could he protect them from something that crossed galaxies? Yet, when he looked into Nira's scared eyes, he knew he could not abandon them. He forced a calm tone. "You're safe here with me. I won't let anything happen to you." Nira's eyes softened. Lyra watched him carefully, studying him with a strange expression, half disbelief, half relief. "You risk your life for us," Lyra said softly. "Why?" Lucas shrugged. "Because you needed help." Lyra stared at him, almost confused. "Humans, are they all like you?" "Not all," he said honestly. "But most would help someone in danger." Nira leaned closer, her voice trembling. "Where we come from, kindness does not come free. When someone saves your life, a bond is formed. A promise." Lucas raised an eyebrow. "A promise." Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, a sacred one." Her voice grew softer, heavier with meaning. "A life saved creates a life owed." Lucas didn't understand. "You mean?" "You owe me something." "Not owe," Lyra corrected gently. "Belong." Nira nodded, her eyes glowing faintly. "Our people believe that the one who saves us becomes our protector. Our chosen one." Lucas blinked in shock. "I didn't save you because I wanted anything in return. I just didn't want two innocent girls to die." Lyra looked down. "Still, the bond is made." Before Lucas could respond, a loud boom echoed across the valley. The shelter shook slightly. Snow dust fell from the ceiling. Lyra and Nira instantly froze, fear filling their glowing eyes. "They found us," Nira whispered. Lucas stood quickly and looked out the window. The darkness was thick, but in the distance, a strange red light flickered, moving slowly across the valley like a hunting predator. "Stay here," Lucas said, though his own voice carried fear. Lyra grabbed his arm. "No, they are dangerous. You cannot face them alone." Lucas looked at the two weakened sisters, trembling beside the fire. "I'm not leaving you," he said firmly. Nira's voice shook. "They will take us. They always take us." Lucas clenched his fists. Not while I'm here. Outside. The red light grew brighter. Inside, the sisters huddled together, eyes wide with terror. And for the first time, Lucas realized that rescuing them was only the beginning of something far bigger and far more dangerous than he ever imagined. The red light outside moved slowly across the valley, like a giant eye searching through the darkness. Lucas stood perfectly still at the window, his breath tight in his chest. The storm was heavy, but he could still see the strange glow cutting through the snow, sweeping left and right as if hunting for movement. Behind him, Lyra and Nira sat close to the fire, their bodies still weak, but their eyes wide with fear. Nira's hands shook as she held Lucas's jacket around herself. "Lucas," Lyra whispered, "if they find us, you must run. They will not chase you. They only want us." Lucas turned sharply. "I'm not running. I told you, I'm staying." Lyra looked at him with something between frustration and awe. "You don't understand. They are not like you. They have no fear, no kindness, no mercy. They destroy everything in their path." "Then I'll block their path," Lucas said, though his voice held a tremor. Nira stared at him like he was something impossible. "Why? Why are you so brave?" she whispered. Lucas sighed. "I'm not brave. I'm just not letting two innocent girls be taken by monsters." Lyra's eyes softened. "Our world does not have men like you." Lucas kneeled beside them. "Tell me what I'm dealing with. Who are they?" Lyra took a shaky breath. "They are hunters. They chase our family line across galaxies. They believe our blood carries power gifts from the old stars. They want to use us. For what?" Lucas asked. Lyra shook her head. "We don't know. They never explain. They only capture." Nira leaned closer. "We escaped once, but our ship broke in the storm. We fell here, and I found you," Lucas said. "Yes." Lyra's voice softened again. "And that changed everything." Nira suddenly crawled closer to Lucas, gripping his hand. "Lucas, when you saved us, our ancient bond was formed. You became our protector, our chosen one." Lucas blinked. "You keep saying that. But what does it actually mean?" Lyra lowered her gaze. Her cheeks glowed faintly with a soft blue tint like a blush. "In our culture, those who save our life become our life partner." Lucas's eyes widened. "Life partner, as in marriage?" Nira nodded without hesitation. "Yes, we belong to you now." Lucas nearly fell backward. "Hold on, no. I didn't save you for that reason. You don't owe me anything." Lyra shook her head firmly. "It is not about owing. It is sacred tradition. If you reject it, our hearts will break." Nira's eyes shimmered with emotion. "We don't want to be alone anymore." Lucas felt a weight on his chest, not fear, but something warm and heavy. These sisters, alien or not, were clinging to him with all the hope they had left. He could not bring himself to hurt them. But the situation was far bigger than romance or tradition. Danger was approaching fast. Suddenly, a loud metallic scream echoed across the valley. The red light split into two. Then three now more shapes were moving through the storm. Lyra gasped. "Hunters." They brought more. Lucas grabbed the old metal rod he kept for safety. It wasn't a real weapon, but it was all he had. Nira reached out. "Lucas, please stay inside with us." "I can't," he said softly. "If they break in, you won't stand a chance." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "Please, don't leave us." Lucas hesitated. The fear in their voices clawed at his heart. He placed his hand gently on Lyra's shoulder. "I will not let anyone hurt you. I promise." Lyra trembled. That is a binding promise in our culture. A protector's vow, right? Nira whispered, "Now you are truly ours." Another boom shook the ground. Snow fell from the ceiling. The red lights were almost at the door. Lucas tightened his grip on the metal rod. Lyra and Nira reached out and held each other, shivering not from cold, but from terror. Lucas exhaled slowly. "Stay behind the fire. Don't move." The lights stopped right outside the shelter. Silence, heavy, crushing. Then a loud metallic knock. Lyra flinched. Nira squeezed her eyes shut. Lucas stepped forward, heart pounding, ready to face whatever nightmare waited on the other side. He had saved the two sisters once. Now he would have to save them again. This time, from death itself. The metallic knock echoed through the small wooden shelter, making every board tremble. Lucas stood frozen, gripping the metal rod so tightly his knuckles turned white. Behind him, Lyra and Nira huddled together near the fire. Their glowing eyes locked on the door. Another knock harder. Sharper than a strange voice hissed from outside. "Return the sisters, and you may live." Lyra gasped. Nira buried her face in her hands. Lucas felt something cold crawl down his spine. He took a deep breath and stepped closer to the door. "Leave this place," he shouted. "They're not going anywhere with you." Silence, then a chilling reply, human. "This is not your fight." Lucas clenched his teeth. "It is now." Behind him, Lyra whispered, "Lucas, please, don't provoke them. They will kill you without thinking." But he didn't look back. He couldn't if he saw their terrified faces again. His courage might break. The door shuddered as something slammed into it. Snow from the roof fell around the frame. Lucas pressed his shoulder against the wood, pushing back with his whole body. Another slam and another, each one stronger. Lyra cried out, "They're breaking in. Lucas, please come back, please." But Lucas only yelled, "Stay away from the door. Both of you." The next impact cracked the wood. A long split ran down the middle like a wound. Nira sobbed softly, hugging Lyra tightly. Outside, the voice whispered with a terrifying calm, "You cannot protect them. Their blood belongs to us." Lucas shouted back, "Over my dead body." "Lucas." Lyra screamed, "Don't say that." But it was too late. The hunters took it as a challenge. The door exploded inward. Snow blasted into the shelter along with a tall, shadowy figure wearing dark armor. Red lights glowed from the cracks in its helmet. Its breath came out as a chilling hiss. Like a creature made of both machine and nightmare. Lucas stumbled back but swung his metal rod with all his strength. The rod hit the hunter's arm metal on metal and sent a loud ringing through the shelter. It barely flinched instead. It grabbed Lucas by the throat and lifted him off the ground. Lyra screamed. Nira crawled forward on shaky limbs, reaching for Lucas as he struggled for breath. Lucas kicked wildly, trying to break free. But the hunter's grip was like iron. "You are weak," the hunter growled. "A fragile human. You cannot stand between us and destiny." Lucas's vision blurred. His hands clawed at the creature's cold fingers, desperate for air. Then a sudden blue light burst from behind him. Lyra, trembling but determined, raised her glowing hands. "Put him down," she cried, her voice shaking with power she barely controlled. The hunter turned toward her. A sharp beam of energy shot from her palms, striking the hunter in the helmet. The creature staggered, dropping Lucas to the ground. He gasped loudly, clutching his throat and crawling back. The hunter roared, red lights flashing rapidly. "The elder sister has awakened her gift," it hissed. "Good, that will make your capture more valuable." Nira crawled to Lucas, tears streaming down her face. "Lucas, please get up. Please." He forced himself to stand on shaking legs. He had no weapon left, no strength, no plan. But he had something else, a promise he made to protect them. Lyra fired another blast of energy, but her body shook dangerously. Each attack weakened her more. "Lucas, take Nira and run." She shouted, "No." Nira cried, "Don't leave her." Lucas pulled Nira behind him. "We're not leaving anyone." The hunter raised its clawed hand, preparing to strike Lyra. Lucas jumped forward, tackling the creature from behind. They crashed into the wall, wood cracking beneath their weight. The hunter turned and punched Lucas in the stomach, sending him sliding across the floor. Nira screamed. Lyra's glow flickered. The hunter stepped toward Lucas to finish him. Then Lyra crawled between them, shielding Lucas with her own body. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Take me. Just leave them alone." Lucas's heart broke. "Lyra, no." The hunter paused for the first time. It hesitated, not because of mercy, but because of surprise. "You would surrender for a human?" It asked slowly. Lyra nodded weakly. "He saved our lives. He is our chosen protector. Our bond is complete." The hunter turned its helmet toward Lucas, studying him silently. Then it growled, "Very well. If he is your protector, then he must prove it." It stepped back, motioning toward the door. "Tomorrow, he will face the trial of claim." Lucas's blood ran cold. Lyra collapsed into his arms. Nira whispered in terror, "Lucas, no human has ever survived that trial." The shelter grew quiet after the hunter left, but the silence felt heavier than the storm outside. The red lights faded into the dark valley, promising only one thing: they would return at sunrise. Lucas held Lyra in his arms as her breathing steadied. Nira knelt beside them, her small hands trembling, her eyes full of fear that she tried desperately to hide. The fire crackled softly, casting shadows on their worried faces. Lucas finally spoke. "What is the trial of claim?" Lyra opened her tired eyes. "It is a test," she whispered. "A cruel test. A fight you cannot win." Nira grabbed Lucas's sleeve. "No human has survived it. Not even warriors from our own worlds survive it." Lucas swallowed hard but forced a calm voice. "Tell me." Lyra looked at him with sadness. "The hunters use the trial to decide if someone is worthy to protect our bloodline. If you lose, they take us. And if I win?" Lucas asked. Lyra hesitated. "Then they will leave us alone forever." Lucas nodded slowly. That was all he needed to hear. Nira shook her head frantically. "No, you can't do it. You don't understand hunters fight with machines in their bodies. Their strength, their speed. You are nothing compared to them." Lucas placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Nira, I don't have a choice." Lyra sat up weakly, her fingers brushing his hand. "Lucas, listen to me. You are kind. You are brave. But bravery is not enough against a hunter. They will kill you in seconds." Lucas tried to smile. "Maybe, but I'd rather try and fail than watch them take you." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Nira covered her mouth, trying not to sob. The weight of his promise pressed on them like the cold wind outside. Lyra whispered, "Why? Why do this for us? We are not even from your world." Lucas took a slow breath. "Because you're alone. You're scared, and you didn't deserve any of this. If protecting you is the price I have to pay, then I'll pay it." Nira couldn't hold back anymore. She threw her arms around him, crying into his chest. "You're going to die, and it will be our fault." Lucas hugged her carefully. "It's not your fault. I made this decision. Lyra wiped her tears, looking at him with something between respect and heartbreak. You are unlike any protector our legends describe. Lucas laughed softly. Maybe your legends never met a stubborn human. Despite the fear, Lyra smiled, but only for a moment. Outside, winds slammed against the walls. The night felt shorter than ever. Lucas stood and walked to the window, staring into the endless white storm. Lyra and Nira watched him closely. You should rest, Lyra said. You will need strength for tomorrow. Lucas shook his head. I can't rest. Not yet. He searched the small shelter, gathering anything that could help him. A rope, thick boots, a broken metal shield from the crashed mining equipment. It wasn't much, but it was something. Nira watched him with wide, worried eyes. That won't help against a hunter. It might help a little, Lucas said. And a little is better than nothing. Then Lyra spoke again, quiet but firm. Lucas, come here. He turned. Lyra placed her hands on his chest. Her palms glowed faintly with blue light. Our power, our gifts, they come from the stars. I am weak now, but I can still share a little of it. Lucas hesitated. Will it hurt you? Lyra nodded. Yes, but not as much as losing you. Nira crawled closer, placing her glowing hands over Lyra's. We'll both help, together. Lucas's chest warmed under their light. A soft energy ran through him, gentle, bright, and soothing. His fatigue faded, his breath strengthened. And his heartbeat steadied. When the light dimmed, Nira collapsed weakly beside him. Lyra leaned against the wall. Exhausted, Lucas quickly caught Nira. Hey, don't push yourselves like that. Lyra shook her head. It is our choice. You are our protector. Our bond demands we help you. Nira whispered, please, come back alive. Lucas held her close. I'll try. I promise. The fire burned low. The storm faded. Morning approached like a slow monster creeping through the darkness. Lyra closed her eyes. When the sun rises, they will call your name. Lucas stared at the door tomorrow. He would face a creature built for war. He would face death itself. But he would not back down. He wasn't fighting for glory. He was fighting for them and for Lucas. That was enough. Morning came with a pale, cold light. The storm had finally stopped, leaving the valley covered in a silent blanket of white. The world looked peaceful, but the peace was fake. Hiding the danger waiting outside, Lucas stepped out of the shelter slowly. His breath formed small clouds as the icy air stung his skin. His clothes were worn, his weapons simple, just a metal rod and a broken shield. But the warm energy Lyra and Nira shared with him still pulsed faintly in his chest. He felt stronger than before. Not strong enough to fight a hunter, but strong enough to try. Lyra and Nira stood in the doorway, wrapped in blankets, their faces pale. Their glowing eyes never left Lucas. Lucas. Please, Lyra whispered. Don't do anything foolish. Smiled softly. Everything I do is foolish. Nira's voice broke. Come back to us. Please. He nodded and turned before his heart could weaken. Across the valley, the red lights appeared again. 3 hunters walked toward him in single file, their steps perfectly synchronized. The snow did not slow them. Their heavy armor did not sink. They moved like shadows carved from metal. The one in front, the same hunter who broke into the shelter, stepped forward. Human. It said, the trial of claim begins now. Lucas swallowed hard. What do I have to do? The hunter extended a long metallic blade from its arm. You must survive. Lucas tightened his grip on the rod. Survive what? The hunter pointed its blade toward him. Me! Liara cried out. Stop! He is not trained. He is not one of us." The hunter did not look at her. "He is your chosen protector. He must prove he deserves that bond." Nira sobbed. "Lucas, run. Please run." Lucas shook his head. "I'm not running." The hunter took a single step. The ground cracked under its weight. Lucas barely had time to raise his shield. The hunter slammed its blade down. Clang. The force threw Lucas backward through the snow, the shield bending under the impact. His arms shook violently. Pain shot through his shoulders, but he stood again. He ran forward and swung the metal rod at the hunter's helmet. The impact made a loud metallic ring, but the hunter didn't move. It turned slowly toward Lucas. "Your strength is nothing." Then it punched him. Lucas flew backward, rolling across the snow until he hit a frozen rock. His vision blurred. His lungs burned. He tasted blood. Lyra screamed. Nira fell to her knees, but Lucas pushed himself up again. "Still here?" he muttered through clenched teeth. The hunter walked toward him. "This is useless," it growled. "Surrender, human. You cannot protect them." Lucas spit blood into the snow. "Watch me." He charged again, not toward the hunter's head this time, but its leg. He swung the rod low, hitting a joint in the armor. A small spark burst out. The hunter stumbled for half a second. Lyra gasped. He found a weak point. Nira cried, "Lucas, do it again." Lucas tried. He swung again at the joint book. The hunter caught the rod mid-air and snapped it in half like a twig. It grabbed Lucas by the throat again and lifted him. Pathetic. The hunter hissed. Lucas struggled, his feet kicking in the air. The world darkened. He couldn't breathe. His heart thumped loudly in his ears. Snowflakes blurred into white streaks. Lyra collapsed, screaming his name. Nira tried to crawl toward him, but her body was too weak. Lucas's vision dimmed. His hands fell limp. The hunter tightened its grip. Then a blast of blue energy exploded against the hunter's head. The creature roared. Dropping Lucas into the snow, Lyra stood shakily, glowing with fierce blue light. "Don't touch him," she screamed. Another blast fired. Then another. Lyra's entire body glowed like a small star. Her power was stronger, now far stronger than last night. Nira crawled to Lucas, shaking him desperately. "Lucas, please wake up. Please." Lucas's chest rose weakly. He coughed, sucking in cold air. His lungs ached, but he was alive. The hunter staggered, but did not fall. Instead, it turned toward Lyra. "You awakened the gift completely," it growled. "Good. Your value is now doubled." Lyra's knees buckled, but she did not stop. "I don't care about value," she whispered. "I care about him." The hunter raised its blade to strike her. Lucas grabbed its leg again. This time, he didn't just hit the joint, he pulled. With all his strength. With all the energy burning inside him. With all the determination a human heart could hold, the joint cracked. The hunter fell to one knee. Lucas stood shakily. Fist raised, ready to keep fighting, even if it killed him. Lyra stared at him in shock. Nira whispered with awe. He's not fighting like a human. He's fighting like someone chosen by the stars." The hunter knelt in the snow, sparks leaking from the damaged joint in its leg. Lucas stood in front of it, breathing hard, body shaking, skin bruised, but eyes burning with a fire the hunter had never seen in any creature before. Lyra and Nira watched with trembling hearts. They had never imagined a human could stand against a hunter for even a second. Yet Lucas had fought through pain, through fear, through death itself. The hunter rose slowly, its damaged leg dragging slightly. "Human, why do you continue?" it growled. You are weak. You are dying. You cannot win. Lucas wiped blood from his lips. Maybe, but I'm not letting you take them. He stepped forward again. Lyra gasped. Lucas, stop, your body can't take more. Nira cried out, please. You proved yourself. You don't need to fight anymore. But Lucas didn't hear them. Or maybe he did, and that was exactly why he kept going. The hunter swung its arm. Lucas dodged barely, the blade slicing a shallow cut across his shoulder. Pain shot through him, but he stayed on his feet. He grabbed a broken piece of the shield from the snow and used it as a weapon, striking the hunter's damaged joint again. Crack! More sparks. The hunter stumbled fully this time. Its balance broke. It fell sideways into the snow with a heavy metallic crash. Lucas collapsed to his knees, chest heaving, vision spinning. His whole body felt like it was on fire from pain. But he crawled forward anyway, refusing to let go of the fight. The hunter turned its helmet toward him. You are not human, it said quietly, almost respectfully. No human fights like this. Lucas coughed. I fight like someone who doesn't quit. For the first time, the hunter paused, not from damage, not from malfunction, but from realization. It slowly pushed itself upright and raised one arm. Not to strike, but in surrender. The trial of claim is complete, it declared. The protector has proven his worth. Lyra gasped. Nira covered her mouth. Lucas blinked, confused. Wait, what does that mean? The hunter bowed its head slightly. By ancient law, the protector who endures the trial earns the right to guard the chosen sisters. We may not harm them. We may not pursue them. Their bond is sealed. Nira looked at Lyra with wide, sparkling eyes. He did it. He won. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Lucas, you saved us again. The hunter stood, sparks still coming from its damaged leg. It motioned for the other two hunters behind it to stand down. Human, it said, your strength is small. But your heart is enormous. A force even we cannot break. Lucas collapsed fully into the snow, exhausted beyond measure. Lyra and Nira rushed to him, holding him before he fell face first into the cold. Lyra held his face gently. Lucas, Lucas, please stay awake. Nira wrapped her arms around him tightly. Don't leave us, please. Lucas gave a weak smile. I'm not going anywhere. They both cried softly, hugging him like the most precious thing in their world. The hunter spoke again. Your protector lives. You should take him back to shelter. His body needs healing. Lyra glared at the hunter. If he dies, your trial means nothing. He will not die, the hunter replied. He is chosen. With that, the hunters turned away, disappearing back into the snowy valley like shadows melting into light. The red glow faded until only white silence remained. Lyra and Nira slowly helped Lucas back toward the shelter. Every step was painful, but Lucas stayed awake, kept moving. Guided by their hands and their voices inside, they laid him near the fire. Lyra placed her glowing hands over his chest. Nira touched his forehead, whispering soft words from their language, words of healing, the bonding of gratitude. Lyra's voice cracked as she spoke. Lucas, our people will never understand what you've done. No human should have been able to stand against a hunter. Yet you did it. For us? Nira wiped her tears. You didn't save us because of rules, or because of destiny. You saved us because of who you are. Lucas looked at them weakly. I saved you because I care. The sisters exchanged a look, one full of warmth, hope, and something deeper. Lyra leaned closer, her voice soft. Then hear our final vow. From this day, you are our protector, our bond, our chosen partner. Not by force, Not by tradition, but by heart. Mira nodded. Where you go, we go. Lucas smiled faintly. Then we stick together. All three of us. The fire crackled gently. The storm had passed. And in a small wooden shelter, a human and two alien sisters began a new chapter, bound not by fear, but by courage, loyalty, and the kind of love only the stars could understand.